All right. Good after morning, everyone. Hope you've had a great Wednesday or whatever day it is that you are catching the replay of this live stream. Coming at you tonight, it's 8 o'clock where I'm at in the evening, and the snow is on the ground. It's bitter cold outside. So let's chat about kitchens. A couple days ago, I put out what I put out? A poll on my community tab asking you what you could pay for your new kitchen. And the results were quite interesting. I want to talk about those results. I want to specifically talk about three areas in your new kitchen renovation that would cause you to have some fluctuation in what you're going to pay for your new kitchen. So it's important to look through these things and understand what the price variables are, what you can expect when you go to a showroom or a kitchen designer when you're having a new kitchen installed and renovated and whatnot. And we're going to talk about those things. I have a video coming out next week where there's 8 more of these variables that I want to go through of things that really affect the pricing of a kitchen. So here's where this thought came from. How much is a kitchen? And that's a common thing. You type into Google, how much does a new kitchen cost? How much is a kitchen renovation? And it's kind of an elusive question. It's not a question that's the same for everybody. It's not like 1 plus 1. It's 2 for every person. But how much is a kitchen and how much is a kitchen going to cost for you? There's no one answer. In fact, the kitchen for you could be a whole bunch of different options depending on a whole bunch of different things. So answering the question, how much does a kitchen cost, is really hard to nail down. So I want to talk about the things that affect those prices. And I want to talk about the question that we should be asking, or the thing we should be thinking about when we're talking about the pricing of a kitchen and what we should be looking at. So first, I want to get into the poll that I sent out a couple days ago. It had about 400 and some respondents. And the question was, how much could you pay for a kitchen? So it's looking at, kind of a personal question. When you're thinking about your new kitchen renovation, how much could I pay if I was going to redo my kitchen, or if I'm planning on redoing my kitchen? And instead of how much would I want to pay, or how much do I expect my kitchen to be, how much could I pay? Okay, that's the question we want to get to the bottom of, and we're going to talk through. So, and I see some comments coming in. So I'm going to get to some comments in a little bit. Thank you for joining me if you're on the live stream at the start, and I appreciate it. So put some chatter in the chat box, and I'll get to your comments. I really enjoy going through those comments and talking about them, and we'll chat it up. So first of all, I want to talk about what you all said. If you voted, thank you very much, by the way. But here's what you said you could pay for a kitchen. So I want to start on the lower end, though. In all actuality, none of these numbers are low in my books, but the amount that something's worth is very relative. So the first one was $5,000 to $10,000. And I guess we're talking about maybe US dollars, Canadian dollars, though. If it's going to be Canadian dollars, we'd have to refinance our house to get that. But in US dollars, $5,000 to $10,000. 39% of the respondents said, yeah, that's what they could spend for their kitchen renovation. Now, as I go through these 4 options, it's interesting to see the results. And then I'm going to show you a poll done by the NKBA, the National Kitchen and Bath Association, that did a similar study where they asked architects and designers and builders and manufacturers what was happening in the industry. So I think it's important that we see what people are actually spending and expecting to pay, and then what you're saying, hey, this is what I could spend on my new kitchen. So $5,000 to $10,000. And of course, that there's a lot of variables there. What does that mean? So the thing that I'm most interested in is cabinet, countertop, and installation. Okay, now there's tile and flooring, and there's what else is there? Appliances, that's a big one. Lighting and all. There's all kinds of things. Your sink and your fixtures. There's all kinds of variables there. But the thing I'm most interested in is just countertop, the cabinets themselves, and the installation, which is a big part of a kitchen renovation is the install price. A big part of a kitchen renovation is the countertop, and of course the cabinets that you select. So $5,000, $10,000 is a fairly average budget. 39% of the people who voted said, yeah, that's what I could spend right now if I was gonna, either get a loan for the money or I could pay back reasonably. Because I don't think a kitchen should be something that we, go into massive amount of debt for, though I'm sure some people do. Maybe you have, I don't know. The next one was $10,000 to $20,000. 34% of the respondents said, yeah, that's what I could pay for a kitchen. This would be the range where I would say is fairly average, obviously, from this poll. This would be very much in the middle of what most people on this poll, at least, responded to. And many people on other platforms and other studies have shown that this is the range where a lot of kitchens fall into. And, if you were just asking me, if someone just grabbed me off the street and just said, "Hey, how much is a new kitchen?" I would say, if you give yourself 15 to $25,000, you'd be pretty safe to get a decent kitchen. Now, that's not to say you can't get a decent kitchen for less than that. You certainly can, and you can get a decent kitchen for more than that. But the amount of money you spend doesn't necessarily mean you're getting a great quality or a great laid out functional kitchen. It just means that you're spending that much money. So there's things we got to be careful of when we're talking about how much kitchens cost, because they don't always mean what we think they mean. So $10,000 to $20,000, 34% of the respondents said, yeah, that's something I could be reasonable with. The next one was $20,000 to $50,000. 18% of you said this is what I could spend on my kitchen. Again, it's falling within that range. In fact, I'll show you in a minute a screenshot that the most consumers can spend between $4,000 and $50,000 on a new kitchen. I thought that's what a wide range that is, $4,000 to $50,000. So I want to narrow that down a little bit, because that's such a huge range of numbers. And yeah, obviously, so you could fall anywhere in between that. But as we get to be a little more specific, $20,000 to $50,000 is what people are spending on their kitchens. 18% of them, and that is pretty reasonable. Now, the next one was a bigger number, which is just 50,000 and plus. And again, we're looking at what's the size of the kitchen and what is put into that kitchen. And the thing in this poll is that, hey, it's just countertop, cabinets, and installation. Okay, so you're looking at your kitchen to be $50,000 plus. What does that mean? Is it what's involved in that? So that's the real thing I want to get to the bottom of, is not just what you could spend for your kitchen, but what are the things that you're spending in your kitchen to get you those numbers. Now, I'm assuming many of you have done kitchen renovations, and I've done a few in the past, so I know what we've personally spent, and it definitely wasn't in the $50,000 range. But what you spend you can spend 50,000, or you could spend 5,000 on the same space, the same footprint, and get a good kitchen. So what's involved in that, and what is the price of a kitchen? And it's just the wrong question to be asking, though it's the question we want to know. We want to know how much we're going to spend, but the question is, what I'm asking you is, how much can you spend? How much can you spend for a kitchen? And then we work backwards to say, hey, this is how much I can spend. Now, this is obvious sounding, but we oftentimes approach it backwards. We say, like, how much is a kitchen? And we go and we get a kitchen quoted, and we get a design, and we figure out, this is the style I want, this is the cabinet I want, this is the maker or the builder that I want to use, this is the cabinet choice, this is the color, the door style, the wood, the finish, this is the handles and all the hardware and all the interiors. And then we get a price back, and we're like, I can't afford that at all. But if we approach it from, hey, this is it, and let's work backwards, which we do for all kinds of other things. We have budgets for stuff in our lives, so we try not to go over those budgets. But sometimes with kitchens, we get thrown off guard because we don't understand where the pricing comes from and what fluctuates in those pricing. So what we want to look at is, what are some of the things that affect these prices, so that we can have a better understanding of, when I go to get a kitchen priced and I go to think about designing a new kitchen or having a new kitchen renovation, how much money can I spend, number one? And then let's work the kitchen into that. I am a big believer that no matter what the budget size is, you can get a very nice functional kitchen with that budget. It's just a matter of being able to know beforehand, this is the what I have to work with, and we always have, a little bit of give and take. But if you have a good number that you can deal with and say, this is what I can spend on a kitchen, let's make a kitchen fit into that budget, you have better success and less disappointment, because then you don't have to give something up after you've already seen it, after it's already been shown to you in a 3D image, or after you've already been going through the motions of picking it and getting excited. And I mean, like, so I could do, I'm now disappointed. I could do two things. I can increase my budget, which I really don't want to do, or I can take away stuff, and that's kind of cruddy because I really liked that countertop and now I really can't have it, or I can't have this. So going the other way, doing it backwards, or really the right way forwards, is always the better solution. So, what are some of the things that we can spend money on? What are some of the variables? That's the real word of the day for me on this: is what are the variables in a kitchen renovation? What are the things that can fluctuate? Because being in this business for 20 years, there's a lot of fluctuation in the price of things. Now, I am taking out like tax, and I'm taking out, inflation and whatnot. I'm just I want to just break it down to the bare bones of the actual things. I know there's sometimes things that are controlled depending on where we live, or, whatever our tax rate is, or on and on and on. So I want to take those things out and just look at the specifics of what you can spend your money on. So there's three I want to talk about in this, and I'll bring them up and we'll go through them. Then I'm going to jump into the chat and look at some of your comments, questions, and we'll chat for a little bit. But I wanted to get through this first, and then we'll do that. And so there's three of them I want to bring up. They're the most obvious ones, which I already mentioned, which is cabinets, countertop, and installation. And then I have a video coming out where I talk about 8 more variables that are important to think about when we're designing a kitchen. So be on the lookout for that. I didn't film it yet, but it's in there. It's coming out eventually. So in the next few weeks. And we got Christmas coming up and other holidays. So, I don't know how that's going to work for releasing videos, but we'll just play it by ear. All right, so number one was cabinets. This is the biggest variable that you're going to face when you're dealing with a kitchen renovation, and it's materials, door style, color, the finish. Is there a glaze on it? What's the sheen? Is it a high gloss or a matte finish? Is it maple, oak, walnut, made of gold? Whatever the cabinet choice is. What's the door style? Is it a beaded door style? Is it a raised panel? Or is it shaker? Or is it reverse shaker? Blah, 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 on and on and on. So many door styles, so many options. What's the cabinet made out of? Is it solid plywood? Is it particle board? Is it, cheaper particle board? Is it a flat pack, RTA cabinet? Is it custom made? Is it custom made by a guy in his backyard? Is it custom made by a manufacturer? There's so many things to think about. All of those things come with a different price point that, affect the price that you're going to pay for your kitchen. And so if you know that you have a budget, or you could pay $5,000 to $10,000 for your kitchen, then you are going to want to look at which of these options is going to get me into that bracket so that I can be satisfied and have a good quality kitchen. Now, we talk about quality. You can have expensive, poor quality kitchens, okay, and you can have good quality kitchens that don't cost a lot of money. So there's a lot to be said there. So just because something costs more doesn't, again, necessarily mean that you're getting a better quality. Though, hopefully, if you're spending more money on something, you are getting a better quality. It's just not that easy sometimes. So what are your cabinets made out of? What is it that you're getting? Because an RTA cabinet or kitchen is going to cost quite a bit less than something that's custom manufactured or custom made. And we have terms like, okay, we have RTA and flat pack. So that would be your IKEA, and all the big box stores carry these, and you can buy them online. There's all kinds of companies online that you can go in there. They have their list of sizes, and you can place your order and design your kitchen, and they ship it to you. If they have the stock right now, it's another issue, but in a real perfect world, they'd ship it to you, it'd arrive at your door, and away you go. Versus you go to a place that has semi-custom or custom, and they're building exactly what you want. My years in doing this have been 80% completely custom kitchens, and then a bunch of, mixture of other things in there as well. And so I'm used to dealing with cabinets that you can just, if you want it to be this shape and depth and height and width and have legs here and secret compartment there, we can do that for you. We can design that. However, that's going to cost you a whole lot more money than if you get a cabinet that is, say, from IKEA or some other type of place like that. So many consumers choose an RTA cabinet line because the price point is so much less. And so that's a real good benefit. Plus, the quality for a lot of these cabinets is pretty good. Now, there's a lot that aren't great, but a lot of them meet, many standards. And, IKEA has now, of course, there's going to be people who be like, no, if it's not solid plywood, it's no good. And that's fine too. But the truth is that just because it's not made of plywood doesn't mean it's not necessarily a good quality product. Don't shoot me for that, but I know somebody will. However, it's just, there's a lot of good quality products. And yes, in theory, plywood is a better solution. But if you can't afford that, it's not always the best way to go. And not all plywood is good quality either. So these are some of the variables we look at. So when you go into order a kitchen, or you're sitting down with your designer, you're going to a big box store, or you're going to a kitchen retailer or a shop, a custom shop, it's good to know, hey, what am I purchasing? What is the quality that you offer? And do you have different levels of that? What am I buying? Because those things can be different. Now, you can get a kitchen from IKEA and a kitchen from a custom manufacturer that look basically the same. You can do the same layout in mostly all of these things. But of course, you're going to pay different. So a lot of people go with the RTA route to bring that price down, to save a little bit of money and still get something that's good quality, that's functional, that works, that looks beautiful. I don't know if you've been into an IKEA showroom, and I'm not a IKEA fanboy, by the way. I like IKEA, but it doesn't matter to me if I have their kitchen or not. I don't have a kitchen from IKEA. But if you go into their showroom, there's no denying they know what they're doing. They know how to make a showroom pop and make you be like, wow, this is really nice. I want to buy this. And when I go there and we go there, I got to hold Amy back because the displays just draw you in. I think maybe she has to hold me back too, because I love looking at some of those displays, and you want to buy it. So that's okay. If it's going to save you money, go for it. Then there's a point where if it's really bad quality, or if you're suspect of the quality, maybe it's not worth it. Okay. The next one is countertop selection. Huge variables in pricing for countertop selection. I talk about countertops on the channel a lot. I'm sure you're all aware of all the different types of countertops that are out there. And you're also aware that the range is just crazy, from laminate to, whatever the most expensive would be. I'm not even sure right now. Probably maybe porcelain or some kind of unique stone, probably some stone that's rare that you can get, would be the most expensive. So you can go from $15 a foot, or $30 a square foot, up to $200-300 a square foot installed. So the range is huge. And when you're talking about a big kitchen, and for a kitchen that's medium size, we're talking 350 square feet to 500 square feet, which I know square footage doesn't mean a lot to people. So if you think about it this way, for a kitchen that's 12 by 15 feet, an L-shaped 12 by 15 feet, that is on the lower end of a medium-sized kitchen. Well, a 12 by 15 foot kitchen is fairly large. Now you put an island in there, you're going to increase that square footage. So just to get an idea, this is the size. So when you think about putting a countertop in that kitchen, things start to get a little dicey because the price can fluctuate so much. So if you have a $10,000 budget and you're getting cabinets and you want a stone countertop, you're probably going to be disappointed unless you get a really good deal, or you go to a stone yard and they have some ends or leftover pieces that you can incorporate. Then that's a good solution. But you may have to look at different solutions. So have an idea that going into these things all have fluctuating prices, and it's going to change depending on a few variables. And I'm going to talk about some of those variables also that make these things fluctuate, because there's a few in particular that we want to look at. And the last one is installation price. I'll talk about this, and I'm going to show you a couple things on my screen. Installation price. Okay, so What does that mean? If you're doing it yourself, you're going to save money. Hopefully, you're good at it, because if not, you might regret doing that. You don't want your first installation to be in your kitchen. You want to practice on your neighbors or somebody that you don't like, and then make all the mistakes with their kitchen. Then come to your kitchen and install it, because installing a kitchen is no joke. It takes a lot of skill, a lot of patience, a lot of precision. It's not just for your average handyman, like myself, to go and install a cabinet. It's not to say you can't learn or you shouldn't try. Just be careful that you don't make a huge mess, because there's some things that need to be done a particular way. You can go and find yourself an installer. Again, the quality of that installer is going to vary, and the price that they're going to give you is going to vary. So these are huge items to think about. So when you're going to a big retailer or a cabinet shop, they will put the installation price maybe right into the price they're giving you, or they might break it down in percentage, and it's good for you to know what you're paying. You'd be shocked at installation prices out there. They're very expensive. Now, everybody's rule is different, and everywhere you go is going to be a little different. Again, variables. But when you're building a house, we did a big renovation and put an addition on. The cost of labor was the same as the cost of materials, and that was kind of what we were told to go by. And it gets expensive. And so the same holds true with your cabinets. If you're paying somebody $3, $4, $5,000 to install your kitchen, well, that's a big, huge chunk of change that could go towards something else, but likely shouldn't, because you should pay someone to install that kitchen professionally. You won't be, disappointed that you did that, unless they don't do quality work. And so then you're stuck with a poor installed cabinet, but you paid a lot of money for it. So I want you to see these variables and look at it like there's so many things that go into the price of a kitchen. And so asking, what's the price? What's a kitchen cost? When someone asks me that, it's like, I don't know. They're like, well, you did this for 20 years. How come you don't know what a kitchen costs? Because every single one, there's never been two kitchens that cost the same amount. So I don't know what a kitchen costs. I know what Joe McDonald's kitchen costs down on 4th Street, because I did it. And I know what, Mary what's her name's kitchen costs over there, because I did that one, but they were different kitchens. And so that question irks me. Now, it's not saying it's a bad kitchen. Now, my friend Michael from Kitchen Insider, sorry, Michael, I get that wrong every time. He did a really great video on what's the kitchen cost. And it was a really great video. I'm going to link to it in the description. And it was in the UK study from House. And he said that 11,500 pounds, which would be between $12,000 and $15,000 in North America right now, is the average cost of a kitchen. But again, his answer was, well, it depends. And he breaks it down. It's a really good video. And that is the answer. It just depends. There is no answer. And so if it's going to be math class here, the variables that we plug into the equation are going to change the outcome. And you need to be aware that there's many variables involved, many more than the ones that I'm mentioning in this video, and that we'll get into in another video. So then you go and sit down with your designer or your supplier who you are getting the cabinets from, whether it's a backyard guy or whether it's a big brand name, whatever it is. You have some ideas that, hey, this is what I'm going in here with. Here's my budget. And don't be afraid to tell them what your budget is. It's really important that they know your budget, so that they don't blow it out of the water because they don't know. And I talked about this before on the channel, but when I'd have clients come in and I ask them, well, what do you want to spend on this? And they're like, well, we don't really want to tell you. I'm like, well, why would you want to tell me what you want to spend? Like, okay, the worst thing I could do to you is just spend it all, which you're willing to do anyway, because that's your budget. So, but I'm not going to do that. I need to know what's the ceiling, so that I don't blow it out of the water. So that when you come in and we sit down, we say, here's your new kitchen and here's your countertop, and I did all this and you asked for all this. And then I tell you, hey, it's $35,462. And you're like, well, I can only spend 15. Well, you should have told me that before, because I would have designed it for that amount. And it would still blow your mind. It's still going to be an amazing kitchen. It's still going to be functional and look beautiful, but it's going to be $15,000 instead of $34,000. See, there's so many variables. So I just really want to encourage you, if you're in the market for a new kitchen, Really, don't be afraid of the budget question if it's asked. And if your designer doesn't ask you what the budget is, you should tell them anyway. So here's my budget. I don't know why you're not asking me. You should be asking me. It's not a scary question. We don't need to be afraid of it. Ask how much that kitchen's gonna ask. Tell them how much you have to spend so that they can work with that. I think it's okay. Let's jump into the comments for a minute. I just want to say hi to everyone. Lots of comments here. I'm just going to scroll through and we'll just go through a couple of these. Actually, you know what? First, let me just slow down for a minute. Let me slow down and show you something on my screen here. Hold on if I can see it past my camera. This was a study. All right. Hold on. Sorry. All right. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to try to read this on the screen for you. So this was done. This was on hdtv.com. It was a study that they had talked about from homeadvisor.com. So, and let me just slide this way. So it's an annual cost versus value report for 2019. Remodeling Magazine puts the national average for a mid-range major kitchen remodel at $66,196. What? And an upscale major an upscale major kitchen remodel at $131,510. Well, that's expensive. In the Pacific region, Alaska, California, Washington, Oregon, according to Remodeling Magazine, the same mid-range major kitchen remodel jumps to $72,513, and an upscale kitchen remodel to $143,333. I don't know if these numbers are boggling. That's expensive. Compared to those costs to the South Atlantic region, Maryland, South Carolina, Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, Virginia, and Washington, D.C., where the mid-range major kitchen remodel price is at $63,000 and the upscale $126,000. The addition of luxury stone and marble countertops, high-end faucets, flooring, all those things are going to increase the cost of renovation. And HomeAdvisor puts the average kitchen, the average kitchen, in the $12,000 to $34,000 range, and a small kitchen as little as $4,000, and a lavish as much as $50,000. So that, my friends, is a lot of numbers, but it's very interesting to note that depending on where you live in the world, now this was done in the US, but it also rings true for probably anywhere you live in the world, different parts and regions of your country, the value and prices of things differ. Where I live in the east coast of Canada, it's very much different than Montreal, Toronto, Calgary, Vancouver. Those major cities have just different pricing structures for kitchens. The cost of homes is different. The cost of living is different. All that comes into effect. So how much does a kitchen cost? Well, where do you live? Because that's going to make a huge difference in what you're going to pay. All right. Let's go to some comments and say hi to my buddy Rob. Thanks, Rob, for joining me today. And hi, Kelly. Hello from CLE. CLE. What's CLE? Help me out. All right. Hi. Hey, Rose. How you doing? Glad to join me tonight. Thanks for being on here. This is the amount I'm targeting, but things seem to add up quickly. Things add up very quickly, and that's why it's really important to have that kind of idea of what we want to pay. So let's look into. Rose says our last kitchen in 2015 cost $20,000 in the Metro Washington, 22 linear feet of granite and IKEA cabinets. Now only 12 linear feet and Home Depot cabinets cost $26,000. That's only 6 years in the difference. Half as many cabinets. Crazy. I assume it's still in Washington, D.C., Rose. And that is a big jump for a kitchen. So inflation, the cost of living, and I'm sure, in fact, I'm absolutely sure that this COVID-19 has something to do with the crazy prices that we're paying for everything these days, especially building materials, and it doesn't seem to be getting a whole lot better. Cool. All right. Well, you guys can help each other out. That's awesome. Glad you guys can comment in on each other. Rose is saying 20 and 15 include new appliances, wood floors. Oh, wow. So even there you go. And my poll wasn't suggesting appliances. It wasn't talking about flooring. I'm just talking about the cabinets installation and the countertop. So you can see that, that price really, really can grow. Hey, Matthew, great to have you on again. You're not late. You're just on time. There's no late. I am an architect. Well, that helps. So I designed it using a CAD program from IKEA, went to Springfield, granite, save a lot there. Yeah, so if you go to a granite yard where they're selling granite, they have a stone yard, you can select your slabs. You'll often be able to get a much better deal than if you go to a big box retailer, because they're a middleman to the middleman. Basically, they're upcharging that. They have to get their money out of that product, and they don't get it. They get a lot of that from the install price and the margin that they put on it, obviously. So you can save a lot of money by going to a stone yard or somewhere that's countertop specific. And that's something that is good to know. And Rose, it's cool to know that you're an architect. That's really neat. And hey, Darlene, great to have you on again. I always appreciate everyone coming on and just saying hi as we chat in the chat here for a little bit. And we got a few minutes to go. And then I'm going to talk about something related as well. Thinking I need to adjust my expectations. I have sub-zero dreams with KitchenAid budget. There you go. That's pretty good. Yeah, I had a KitchenAid reality. So that's okay. At the end of the day, keeps your food cold or cooks your steak and potatoes, I guess. It's all good. Though it is important to have good quality appliances because, they're built for obsolescence these days, and we don't want to be replacing them all the time. So good quality appliances is really important. But I like this. I have sub-zero dreams with KitchenAid budget. Well said. Darlene says we moved. Okay, so you moved. So the cost of living must be a little bit more there, Rose, obviously, maybe, from what you're saying. Or I'm assuming that it's also just because of, one, the pandemic. The price of living might be different, and it certainly depends on where you get the cabinets from. Though I'm surprised if it's IKEA. It's so much money. Kitchens are not cheap, and they're a big investment. Hey, Karen, great to have you on here. How's the weather out west? I hope it's sunny and warm, though. It's probably not. Where you get your cabinets from is really important, and getting something that's good quality is very important, and that just fluctuates so much. So if I'm looking off the screens, because I'm looking at my other screen here. All right, you guys are helping each other out. I'll let you do that. Karen is saying plywood tends to warp, so MDF, other products, better for less warp. Yeah, that is a known fact that particle board, especially cabinet grade particle core sheets, do not absorb water, moisture in the same way as, or MDF, the same as plywood. However, if water directly comes into contact with that material, it's game over. So it's really important that your cabinets be on adjustable legs and not sitting right on the floor, or what we call a sub base, which is sometimes just a box that's built that your cabinets sit on top of, so that if water were to be on the floor, in the case of flood or something like that, they'd be protected. All right, Rose. Sorry, Darlene, you're a super fan. Press the like button. I couldn't agree more. Thank you very much. I was so impressed in my first conversation with her. We bought through Home Depot. Okay, so you're buying at Home Depot. Did you get semi-custom? Maybe you have it in here already, or custom, completely custom. I priced against Home Depot for a long time, and so just interesting for me. I always liked beating them. Sorry, Home Depot. If you want to sponsor any video, please, I'll take it. But I gotta just say, oh no, I already got that one. Hey, Sanjay, good to see you again. Is there any manufacturer who makes quality cabinets at a low price point? Yeah, that depends. because it depends on what you consider a low price point, and that's really the issue. So, yes, I will say that is true. I know two manufacturers that both deliver a really good quality custom product. You can send them a drawing, their engineers will figure out how to make it, and they can produce it for you along with all the other just regular kitchen items, regular sizes. One of them is super high quality. The other one's super high quality as well. They're really actually really both super high quality. But one is the price point is through the roof, and the other one is what you'd expect for a custom. So yeah, you have to go digging. You have to, that's a hard one to answer because of the variables again that are involved in that equation, but they're out there. However, if it's too good to be true, be careful. You got me on this one. Oh, Wolf. Oh, I'm not familiar with those other brands. So, Wolf? I'm not sure. Not KitchenAid. Just bought custom cabinets with my favorite laminate tops. Darlene, you are a super fan of those laminate tops. I think it's great. No prefab solid wood shaker. We were pleased. A little over 27,000 installed. That's a good price. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're getting a kitchen that you're very pleased with and you're happy with the price you paid for it, I think you got a great deal, and that's really what it comes down to. Oh, you guys are chatting it up. I'm gonna let you guys chat it up. You guys can do that. All right. Since I know you're a fan of Craftmade, no, I'm not. Sorry, Craftmade. Ugh. Can you recommend alternatives in similar price range? You know what? I would pick IKEA cabinets over Craftmade. Probably any day, honestly. I have no stake in the game here. I don't sell anything except my own service, but I don't have a product. I would recommend IKEA. I would recommend a lot of other RTA brands. Now, if you're looking for something that's custom at the same price point, there's so many out there. At the top of my head, I'd have to really think about it. But quality and price point, if you go to IKEA, you can do just about anything that you can do with Craftmade with IKEA. I know there's a difference, and they're totally different product. I'm not a huge fan of Craftmade. Sorry. If I could give you one specific one, I would, but I'd say IKEA would be your best bet. And yeah. Oh, I know. What do you know? Craftmade. That's we said that in the showroom when I had to deal with them. So okay, so Thompsonville, because we had trouble getting the right color. Yeah. So Home Depot sell that. They sell Craftmade as well, and Thompsonville will be a higher end. In fact, I think they have the same parent company. I could be wrong, but I think they do. But I think the quality is much better with Thompsonville. There's lots of manufacturers out there that do a good job. I would look for, is the box a solid 5/8 or 3/4 inch gable? Are the shelves 3/4 inches? Is there anything in there that is 1/4 inch thick or 1/2 inch thick? Then I'd be suspect. I like to have nice thick particle board or plywood when I'm dealing with a cabinet manufacturer. So that's what I look for, and it's not hard to find these days. Let's jump down. Question: best RTA company other than IKEA? Now, I'd have to say there's so many out there, and I dealt with all my life custom cabinets. The cabinets that I dealt with that were prefab were from a company called Premolay, and they were really good quality. And they would be they would be comparable to IKEA for sure. The RTA store online. Now, I've not personally handled those cabinets, so I can't say that they're better quality, though they look like they're really good quality, and they're all plywood, and they have tons of selection, and they have a lot of size selection. So take that with a grain of salt. I wish I could answer that question best. Karen, you're in Canada, right? So I'd have to really look harder if you're looking around your area. So off the top of my head, I'm not quite sure, but there's a lot of online companies that if you look, they have all their specs, and if they have nice thick gables, they're solid plywood, they're using Blum hardware, they have a good warranty. It's always stuff to look for, and that can normally be as good a quality or better quality than IKEA. In fact, once IKEA are hanging on the wall, they look beautiful. The cabinet components and how they go together, I'm not huge super fan of, but I don't have a lot of experience installing them. So I'll tell you who to ask though is Jeff at Homestead Studios. He is all about IKEA and he knows a lot about installing them. And we'll talk about that maybe the next time. Not planning the budget is one of the biggest mistakes. You said it right there. You got to know how much you have before you go into this venture, because if not, you're going to get either taken or you're just going to be completely disappointed at the outcome. Unless you get lucky, I guess. But we're all doing good. I'm glad you can make it. What constitutes a small kitchen? 144 square feet is a small kitchen. Yeah, that is a small kitchen. So a mid-range kitchen is between 300 and 500, or 350 and 500 square. No, I'm sorry. A mid-range is 150 to 350 square feet. So you're just on the cusp of, smaller to mid-range kitchen. And again, that is highly subjective to what you think big and small is in terms of your kitchen, because my kitchen is actually a small kitchen, but it's 15 by 8 with an island. I think it's pretty big, really, but it would be considered a small kitchen. So yeah, that's a smaller-ish kitchen, but it's still a fairly good size, in my opinion. All right, I'm leaving with my budget and asking at every line, how much is that? That's important. I had a situation one time where I designed a kitchen for someone, and it was in the $16,500 range, in fact. And when we sat down, they wanted just to add. So we did that, added a ton of stuff. The final bill was in the $30,000 range, 32 something. And I got the go ahead. Well, the left hand wasn't talking to the right hand, and the right hand was very upset at that price. Anyway, it ended up being a real big problem. But no, and you know what? It's on me. I should have said, "Hey, this is how much this costs. This is how much this costs. This is how much this costs." But I was just excited that, hey, upcharge. This is going to be a great bonus day for me, even though I didn't get a bonus because it was a real big mess. But I never thought to say, "Hey, this is how much this is going to cost you," and no one ever said to me how much it's going to cost you. It was just, hand over fist, and it was a really bad thing. Oh, Karen, you're in Cleveland. Okay. I thought you were in Canada. My apologies. Again, I'd have to look and see what's in your area. But if you could get on RTA cabinets online, the RTA store online, and check out what they have. Go through their website, look at their specs. You'll be able to see. So back to saying what I was saying is that it's important that you lead with budget, ask questions, know the price of everything that you're purchasing. All right. What really hit hard was that cabinet prices going up 2 weeks by 3 to 10%. I wonder if this has anything to do with the pandemic. Probably. Okay, that makes sense. All right, now I know something. I learned something. So I'm sure this had something to do with the pandemic, because the price of sheet goods and the production of sheet goods, plywood and particle board, really took a beating, and building materials in general took a huge beating, and so those things fluctuate the price. So a kitchen even 2 or 3 years ago is going to cost different than a kitchen today. And by what you're saying, the price going up the way it's going up, there's cabinet parts on container ships, sitting on the water right now that aren't going anywhere. And so this is all like causing these pricings to be crazy. So again, lots of variables. And if you know what you're going into it with, make sure that when you get a cabinet quote that, you really get specific on, what we're saying is get very specific on everything that you're purchasing, so you know the price of everything. All right. Oh, let's just go to Roaster for a minute. Uh, that's just cool to know. I used to design elevator shafts. So that's slightly more dangerous than designing a kitchen. There's a lot more at stake there, with that, I think. Um, we want to be careful. Yeah, pandemic for sure. James, for those prices, better to make coffee and bring it to me. Yeah, well, that's right. Somebody commented and said, don't want to spend anything on a new kitchen. Put the money somewhere else. Sometimes a new kitchen isn't what you need. And there's smaller things you can do in your kitchen to upgrade it, to make it more functional or make it look nicer. I go on about pullouts and maybe change your countertop, do some things in your kitchen that don't cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, but can still make a difference. So that's something to think about as well. Rose, so you had IKEA, and you would know. So this is where all of you who are watching and commenting, it's important. Your experiences are really important. I really appreciate it. I agree that the options, quality IKEA, can't be beat. There's a lot of options, and if you had your kitchen with IKEA, you know how it stood up, how it held up. These little cabinets here are IKEA, actually, and they're great. They're not kitchen cabinets per se, but they're still basically the same quality. And I bought them because I seen them in the showroom. I'm like, I want those. They look amazing. Though they look better in the showroom, I got to admit. I get made fun of because they look like a dartboard holder. Anyway, is there any line I can get for less than 6,000 for 10x10 kitchen? Whoo! Are you just talking cabinetry? Because if you are, probably you could find an RTA line dealer that you could get that kind of price with. And if you go with, a less expensive countertop option like laminate, which is nothing wrong with that, and maybe install it yourself. Otherwise, that is pretty tight, but it's doable, 10x10. Now, way back in the day, in the 90s, we used to advertise a 10x10 kitchen for $10,000. It was installed laminate countertop, natural oak, raised panel doors, 10x10 for $10,000. So that was custom, not RTA. So I think you could probably do that, but that's tough. Honestly, it's a little bit tough, but who knows? You got to go look around and see what people have to offer you. Yeah, I think you're right. They are the same parent company, but I do think the quality Thompsonville is better than the Craft Made for sure. Hey, living my life like it's golden 98. Thank you for being here. Is a budget of 10K enough for a small 10x7 enclosed kitchen that's L shaped? 10x10. So again, here's the so what I'm talking about, this is a good way to look at it. So you have your budget, you say, hey, this is the size kitchen I want. And then you go into it saying, this is what I have, and I want an L-shaped kitchen. It's 7x10. You came to me and I was designing this for you. Then I'd say, okay, you got $10,000. Here's what we can do. Design that kitchen, and here you go. And hopefully get it really close to that price point, without going over. Always have a little bit of a leeway. But that's a good question. So the answer is probably, depending on who you go to and how much they're willing to take that number and say, okay, let's work that into your kitchen. And you being willing to say, okay, well, I don't want quartz because that's not going to cut it. And maybe it's not going to be ultra custom. So this is where IKEA or RTA line comes in handy, because you do get a good quality product, and you can do a lot with an RTA cabinet is in terms of the design. You can do a lot with those cabinets. Sorry, my camera goes black. So that you can get a really nice looking kitchen that's functional. So I'll say yes, and the caveat to that is, you know, get everything written down, make sure they know exactly what you're looking at. I love all the chat. I love the questions. And hey, hi Tora. It's super nice to have you on here. We're gonna do a collab coming up soon. I'm working on your kitchen, and can't wait. I'm glad that you joined the live stream. I really appreciate it. Appreciate everyone who comes on. We just chat about kitchens, and I seen your last video. I think maybe it was one of your last videos. You had a whole bunch of books out in your driveway. It looked scary, but I was I was glad to see some snow. It's nice to see some snow on the ground. I mean, unless you hate snow, but I love snow. I love the winters. So we go skiing and we look forward to it. Do you see the prices coming down after the new year? Nope. I don't. I do not see them coming down. I don't know when this is going to end, but it's certainly not ending where I'm living. Yeah, I can't wait to do a call up. I'm going to try to help you. I think it's going to be fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be cool project. If you haven't check out the channel, Living on a Dime to Grow Rich. And yeah, I love snow. Interestingly enough, Toro, and this is off topic, but just for a second, you have some videos on stockpiling. I was having a chat with somebody the other day about they're starting to want to stockpile food, and it was interesting. It's just connecting the dots and seeing it around. People are getting really scared of what's happening in the world right now. Another thing you should stockpile is your money so you can buy a new kitchen, because the prices aren't coming down. Can you modify existing older cabinets and add things like soft close? Yes, you definitely can modify cabinets, whether they're framed or frameless. You can, if they're framed, you just buy specific plates and hinges that are soft close for the doors. And whatever type of drawer system you have, there's all kinds of options on the market. Richelieu.com is a great place to go. However, when you're looking at a bunch of drawer rails on a website, it's hard to decipher, well, what do I need? So go to a cabinet shop, tell them what you're looking for, what you want to do, ask for some help. Even a big box store can give you some advice on what you need for that. And that can be done, definitely can be done. And I think that's a great solution to just upgrading your kitchen, making it a little more easier to work in. And, you're not breaking the bank. You can do it for, well, depending on how many cabinets you have and the type of drawer rails you use, but a few $1,000s, you can get yourself a lot of really good quality hardware. And I think it's a great choice. So what does it cost to paint cabinets? Well, that depends on three things. One is you're doing it yourself. Two, are you doing it by hand or spraying it? And three, are you just getting a professional to come in and spray those things, which I think is the best solution. And all of those are really dependent on who you're getting and the quality of paint, the paint you're buying, how much paint you need. So, okay, what does it cost? $2,000 to $5,000 would be pretty good price. If you're going to have it done by someone who's spraying it. If you're doing it yourself, it really depends. If you're brushing it and doing it, with a brush and a roller, and you're buying paint, maybe a few $100s. The key is professional. Yeah. So look at the $2,000 to $5,000 range. Again, there's so many people that do this at different price points. It's hard to really narrow that down, but I would expect to be in the thousands of dollar range, but probably not more than five. If they're spraying it, that's definitely the best way to go. It gets the best finish. They take the doors off, they can refinish them. Hopefully they take them to their shop, put them in a booth. It's a vacuum sealed, no pressure booth. So it's no overspray. They spray the whole thing. It looks beautiful. And, but then, so that's the way to go. Yeah. If you can get it professionally done for $5,000 to $1,000, that's a good price, and maybe there's someone who can do that for you, but I would put it a little bit higher than that. And the size of your kitchen, I would put a little bit higher than that. But ask around. I could be totally wrong because it's, where we live is different. So the price for things might be totally different. So, um, that could fluctuate. Darlene, do I prefer frameless cabinets? No, or do you? Do you prefer frameless cabinets? No? No, I prefer frameless cabinets. If that's the question, yeah. I'm a big fan of frameless cabinets. Back in the day, we'd call them European style cabinets, and which is a funny term that Michael and I talked about because he just refers to that as cabinets. But yeah, I love frameless. Though framed cabinets are still hugely popular, especially in the US, but a lot of other places in the world have frameless, and in the US, it's very popular as well. But IKEA really made that popular because they don't do anything that's framed. I don't think now. Everything they do is frameless, and so yeah, I love it. Pamela, hey, just catching this from the beginning. In my last home, 2017, I spent $9,000 on new countertops. Okay, appliances, sink, and flooring. The cabinets were wood, fabricated locally. Still look good. Yeah, so kept it. There you go. That's a super good deal. For all that, that's a really good price. So, and the fact that you got it locally, I like that as well. I think that's a really good thing. Yeah. Matthew's 100% correct. If it's not prepped properly, it's going to be a mess. So you got to prep it. If not, yeah, you get in for trouble. Take a few more and then we're going to say goodnight, but I really do appreciate everyone coming on here. What point do cabinets become not salvageable? Our MDF are basically 40 years old. Well, I mean, if they're in good shape, they're not swollen, everything works properly on them. I mean, I guess go for it. If they're starting to fall apart, or if they're MDF or a particle board, sometimes what happens is that the hinge attachments, pull out, and because it gets weak and it comes off, and once that chips, it's really bad, or it can swell or other things. But if they're in good shape, I mean, they're in good shape. So that's really a subjective question to answer because the it also depends on how much you want to put up with and what you can live with. So, I'd say 40 years old, if they're still doing well after 40 years old, you got a pretty good quality cabinets. But overall, yeah, it's sometimes they're not salvageable because of the condition they're in. And you'd know just by using them and what you can do with them. I'd say once you start taking those cabinets off the wall, though, things can get a little bit dicey. Yeah, I'm a frameless guy, 100%. I don't mind framed, but it's okay. If painting yourself, go with high quality primer paint. Yeah, top coat. General Finishes. So General Finishes is a brand. You want to get it's good point, Trish. This is one, you want to make sure those things are prepped, and you want to have it primed good. You want to have a good paint top coat. This is where the spraying comes in good. If you're doing it by hand, by brush, it's just a different look than if you spray it. If you've never sprayed cabinets before or sprayed anything, I don't recommend it until you really practice, because there's an art to it. It's not super easy. Some people have a knack for it, some people don't. That's why I recommend just getting it done professionally. All right. Just bought a townhouse, redoing the whole kitchen, 43 on appliances. Okay. But the fridge was a splurge item. Yeah. So was our fridge, that thing with the screen in it, but we got it on sale, so that helped out. So the whole kitchen, so 43 on appliances, that's a pretty good deal. How many appliances? What did you get? What's the brand name? Tell us what the brand name is. We want to know. Yes, I keep forgetting to say exactly what you're saying there. Oh, no, that's not what I want to say. Oh, I messed that up. Oh, well, I didn't have the banner on there. Hit the like button if you're enjoying this. Help more people see it. It'll be the replay. We let these things go on. I'm going to do a video coming up very soon where we're talking about 8 more variables that impact the price of your kitchen and what you should be looking at. And I'm going to include the 3 I mentioned in this video, which is the cabinets, the install, and the countertop, because those are all important. But be on the lookout for that, and be on the lookout for this week's video where I'm talking. What am I talking about this week? I forget. I have to look it up. Been editing it all week, but there's so much going on. Last week of school. All right, appliances were April 2200. Same fridge is now 34. Yeah, the prices of everything is just going crazy. Thanks, I appreciate the encouragement. I like doing these lives. It's fun to sit down, chat with everyone, and read through the comments and just try to highlight your comments the best I can and try to bring a little bit of value as we chat about kitchens. I'm going to take off here, and I just want to say thank you so much to everyone. Again, be on the lookout for this week's video where I am talking about. Oh yeah, I know what I was talking about. Like totally brain freeze. I'm talking about don't be so hard on your kitchen. 3 areas in your kitchen that are probably a mess, and they're probably a mess for everybody, and some things you can do to remedy that. Thanks so much for coming on again, Tara. I really appreciate it. Can't wait to chat with you. We'll be chatting soon about that kitchen reno, and that'll be fun. Thank you, Lynn. Lots of great information. Well, I appreciate it. Lots of the great information comes from you guys, all the folks that are watching who comment and that, kind of inspire me with things to talk about. I get the greatest information from comments, not only in my videos, but definitely on these live streams. So thanks, Rose. Thanks, Sanjeev. I really appreciate you guys being on here. And I need that video. Yes, we're gonna get that rolling. It's gonna be great. Last one. I think we use current appliance time being extra money for flooring. Yep, that's a great way to save money. Is just reusing some stuff if you can. And okay, more comments coming in. If you can reuse stuff, it's good. I must be getting ripped off. I paid $28,000 for cabinets. It depends. Maybe, but maybe not. Maybe you got what you paid for. It's hard to know. Let me know what you got. I'll tell you if you got ripped off or not. Maybe if I know the brand. I can't say that for sure. Give a thumbs up, everyone. All right. Again, thanks, everyone. If you're watching the replay, I would like to say check out this video, which is all about my top 10 kitchen design trends for 2022 and beyond. It's a must-see. Of course, leave a comment down below, and we will see you on the next live stream, hopefully for sure, and we'll see you on the channel. Appreciate everyone. Much love from the East Coast. Bye-bye.